Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge. This is your Newcastle versus Borussia Dortmund live stream watch-along in the Champions League. I hope you're all doing well, looking forward to this one. Newcastle are a breath of fresh air in this tournament. We've seen them beat the mighty PSG last time out, and they of course are playing tonight against Borussia Dortmund, who bring a decent squad with them. We'll talk about that. I also want to delve into this Everton 12 points deduction that has been recommended by the Premier League. Absolutely bloody disgraceful. We'll talk about that. What about Man City? Where's Man City in this game? You know, Everton breach financial fair play, borrowing money to build a stadium. Man City have done something 115 times, of which we know not what. What is going on with the Premier League? We'll talk about that in a moment, but let's get the team news here. Nick Pope in goal, Trippier, Shaw, Lascelles, Byrne, Longstaff, Gameres, Joelinton, Almiron, Isaac and Gordon. Tonali is on the bench, probably for the last time. He's looking at a 10-month ban. I don't know what we think about that either. But the Dortmund team, Kobel, Wolf, Hummels, Schlotterbeck and Benzibeni, Sabitzer, Chan, Namika, Malen, Fulkrug, and Royce up completing their lineup. Their bench has Adeyemi on it, it has Mukoko on it, it has Reina on it, it has Haller on it, it has Bino Gittins on it. If you know who he is, he's actually British. Yeah, look, I think Newcastle win this game tonight. Maybe I'm being a little bit overconfident for the Premier League side, but I think Newcastle at St James's Park are a very, very tricky proposition for any team in world football. I really, really do. Anyway, let's get on with it. I want to start off with this story about Everton potentially being deducted 12 points by the Premier League. They breached financial fair play. We understand it's not been disclosed, but many people are saying it's to do with loans in relation to the stadium that they've built, which have then led to them breaching financial fair play. The Premier League could fine them. The Premier League could give them a transfer ban. The Premier League apparently are recommending a 12-point deduction. Now, a 12-point deduction for someone like Everton relegates them to the Championship, unless they're very, very, very fortunate. Is this proportionate? Is it fair? Well, I don't normally agree with Jamie Carragher, but Jamie Carragher said, what about Manchester City? You know, what about Man City? Where are they in this game? 115 charges. 115 charges. Everton are getting deducted 12 for one. 115, they'll be playing in the National League. They'll be playing in the bloody National... They'll be playing in the bloody Pub League. What's going on? I can't tell you. So, if Carragher is saying that, and roughly translated, what he's saying is, if you give Everton a 12-point deduction for their Premier League breach of the financial fair play rules, with Everton having 115, surely they'll end up in the National League. One thing Jamie's not realising is, and I think some of us are, you can charge Man City for 450 charges. They've got a lot of money to get out of it. Have Everton got the legal team that Man City have got? Because I think Man City are going to fight this for a very long time. But no, look, I mean, we don't know the situation with Man City, and I suppose, you know, they may never get charged. They may never get sanctioned. But for some reason, Everton look like they're going to do, and a 12-point deduction is looking very, very likely. Do I think it's right? 12 points deduction when you look at what's happened to some teams in the Championship. You know, Derby County have had one. I think Reading had one. There's a few clubs that have had them. It's not unprecedented to have it. I think what the bottom line is... Oh, I tell you what, I like them referee kits. Are they red or orange? What I really do agree with is this: if financial fair play rules have been breached, then there should be severe consequences, because effectively, if everybody else abides by these rules and a club doesn't, they are spending money that other clubs can't spend. So I agree with that. But the thing is, where are the teeth? And is it the easy target that gets the big fine? Because this reminds me a lot of what we see with speed cameras in and around where I live. They'll park a speed camera behind a bush in a nice area because they know in a nice area there's probably a lot of people who can afford to just pay a fine. But they won't go and park it in inner city Birmingham because the wheels will get taken off and it'll get burnt. So is Everton an easy target? Is that why they're going for them? And that's what I always worry about when sanctions and punishments are given out. Hi, Mark. Were you a big Cantona fan? Big Eric Shon every game with him playing, says Jack. I loved Cantona. He was the catalyst to United's very first success. Also, the fact that they leak this a day after their chairman has passed away and City sit there, legs crossed, drink in hand. Pathetic, says Lauren. And just wanted to say I'm really looking forward to meeting you at your next live show after all the things you had to say on the United stand, says United. I'm looking forward to seeing you, mate. You know, I'm not intimidated. Yeah, I don't think your comments are very intelligent, and I'll say it to your face. So if you're trying to intimidate me, it's not going to work. The security is very, very, very competent, and Phil and Steve are big lads. You shouldn't be able to tie it up in the courts for years either, says Chris. Yeah, and of course, let's not forget. Rest in peace to Bill Kenwright, somebody that, you know. I don't comment about Everton. I don't know what Everton fans felt about him, but I think that in all the interviews I ever saw, I think he did have the best interests of Everton at heart from what I saw. And, you know, rest in peace to him. Sometimes people run football clubs with the best intentions and it doesn't work out. Football is a very competitive industry, and you know, it's very difficult to run a football club. But look, Everton, if Everton were to get a 12-point deduction right now, then that would put them into the relegation spots straight away. They would be actually relegated. Well, they wouldn't be relegated, but they'd be -5, so they'd be bottom of the league. For a moment there, I thought, would -5 points put them below Sheffield United, because they are pretty bad. But no, it's impossible for Sheffield United not to have anything less than 0. So, yeah, it's they've got 1 point, Sheffield United. But yeah, Everton would be on -5 with a 12-point deduction. They could claw it back, but it's difficult. It is difficult. Interesting to see how it pans out. They've got a new stadium coming as well, says Luca. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. Dale says, are you doing a watch-along on Saturday and Sunday? I'm doing Chelsea-Brentford Saturday lunchtime, and I'm doing the Derby Sunday. Yeah. When's your next live show, Donny? We're doing it in Manchester. You're more than welcome to get a ticket if there's some left. You're more than welcome to get a ticket. I can drop the link in the chat, because we are doing we're doing a podcast section. We've got a Christmas quiz section. We've got a special guest, so you're more than welcome to come. Don't have to be a United fan for it. Let me just get this timer going here, otherwise I'm going to miss it. Here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Why not Tottenham versus Crystal Palace, says Gita. It's a Friday night, mate. I don't mind watching Man United on a Friday night because I have to. It's my club, but I don't really want to. I don't want to take my Friday up watching Crystal Palace Spurs, if I'm being honest. I love football, but I prefer Friday night out and about, you know. So, you know, I work most days. You've got to have time for yourself. Jem says, what? No, you didn't. Mihal says, what happened to United's new stadium? You must have dreamt about it. That was a bloody good tackle there on Almiron. A query refereeing at this level, don't you, sometimes? At any level. Mark, do a Dyche accent reacting to the charges, says no one. I'll think of something. I mean, I do query. Oh, lovely ball over the top. Oh, he's got it out his feet as well. Lovely play. Good save of the feet from Nick Pope. That could have been 1-0. I think it was Mallon. Lovely play by Dortmund on the break. I mean, look, maybe we've underestimated Dortmund here. What are your thoughts? Do you think Dortmund might win it? I think there'll be goals in this game. I really do think there'll be goals in this game. I think it'll be quite open. Good save by Nick Pope. He had a massive game in Milan, didn't he? They should have lost that game. The Ballon d'Or is such a pointless award now. It doesn't go to the best player in the world anymore, says Ma. Newcastle on the attack here. Let me just wait and see. He's going to get that shot off. And well, I'll tell you what. Both keepers forced into action here in the first couple of minutes. Pope's had to save from Mallon. And Puyol versus Ramos, says Noah. I think you've jumped the gun a bit. I don't think we're ready for either ors at the moment. But Gordon there with a shot, and you'd expect to make that save, to be fair. But both keepers drawn into action early doors here. Good to see. Well, I've done the video on Tonali, so Tonali's going to get a 10-month ban. By the sounds of it, he's on the bench, but yeah, he's going to get a 10-month ban, which is, I think I said in my piece yesterday. The great thing about this channel is that we do these topical videos, and I did read the comments about Tonali, and a lot of people said that do the crime, do the time. He should get a ban. Newcastle on the attack, good ball, but it's overhit. There's no way Gordon's getting that. It's a shame. It's a shame they've overhit that there because they're in a good position. But I think a lot of people agree with the ban. In fact, let's do an early poll. Do you agree with a 10-month ban for Tonali? It's the perfect question. Do you agree with a ban for Tonali? There you go. Get in the chat. Mark, what are your thoughts on the Ballon d'Or losing its relevance and being so predictable these days, says Vince. I think football's losing its way. I do. I think that logic is missing. On the podcast tomorrow for the Friday, we're doing the best player from every Premier League club. Really excited about it. I know what I picked because I recorded it tonight. It'll be out tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Goldbridge Saves Football. Check it out on Spotify, iTunes and other podcast providers. But we were going through it, giving best team from each Premier League side. And I'll give a spoiler. When we did Villa, I said John McGinn. Will said Ollie Watkins. But then he said, I messaged a Villa fan about this that I know, and they said Douglas Luiz. And I was like, I love the variety here. This is, you've got a proper Villa fan. Let's trust him and say it's Douglas Luiz. You could go with Watkins because he scores goals. And I went for John McGinn because I think he's a fundamental player within that team. And that's layered football knowledge. Just giving Messi another Ballon d'Or because he won a World Cup, for me, that's not about who's been the best player over the last 12 months. But we all knew he was going to win it as soon as he won the World Cup back at Christmas. Half of the Ballon d'Or, relevant period hadn't even gone, and we knew Messi was going to get it. Now, I'm not saying that Messi's not a candidate, but we knew Messi was winning the Ballon d'Or as soon as he lifted the World Cup. There was still another 6 months of the Ballon d'Or period to go. My feelings. I think Erling Haaland, as much as I don't like City, in his debut season in the Premier League, smashing the Premier League goal record, winning a Champions League for the first time with Man City, and winning a treble, is bloody unbelievable. But Messi will win it. Tony says Ballon d'Or is just the Eurovision of football. Subjective popularity contest, and everyone just votes for their mates. I agree, Tony. But it happens with the Player of the Year as well. The Players' Player of the Year in the Premier League is the biggest load of bollocks ever. I don't think a lot of these footballers watch football. I think they play FIFA more than they watch football, or EAFC. Good game this. Cut back, corner, Newcastle. Just wanted to say thanks for all the great content. I'm a Liverpool fan, but my club's fan channels are rubbish compared to yours. Original and the best, says Rob. I like the lads at Redmen. I think everything else is a bit shit, to be honest, but I like the lads at Redmen. They've been at it for a long time. They've got a distinctive style. I know what you mean. It's they do what they do, and they're very, I respect the fact that they do it the way they do it. I know what you mean. It is different, but I do think they, it's authentic. Everything else is shit. Most other fan channels these days just basically copy what the United Standard or That's Football does, visually, and try and do analogies and stuff. It's amazing how I grew up a quite unique life, which created me, and so many other people appear to have grown up in the way that I did and do things exactly the same the way I do. Anyway, enough of the cynic. HBN says Dortmund are bad. Well, I think we're going to see goals, and I think we're going to see a Newcastle win. Jarrett says your dad must have had multiple kids. He must have done. Must have gone all around England and Ireland having kids, because there's a lot of people who are similar to me. And it's not arrogant, you know. It's not arrogant. I'm just saying, you know, there's a lot of people that don't like my content, so copying me is not necessarily a good idea, is it? Hi, Mark, what's your opinion on the Premier League adopting the Champions League offside technology, says James. It's over too soon. It's over too soon. I mean, it's right. I like Webby and O'Neill. Scary. Yeah, I like them. Around the world, there's loads of bridges, says Tom. But you just copy Alan Partridge and Ricky Gervais. I don't, mate. Why have they sat and done watch-alongs with the graphics where I wanted them to be and stats and talking about football for 90 minutes 4 or 5 times a week? I forgot they did that. Sorry, forgot they did that. Yeah, must put my hand up and I'll do a tweet towards Ricky Gervais later. Sorry, Ricky, I've completely ripped your idea off for watch-alongs. Sing M&M's Without Me, says Kenneth. Well, give me the lyrics. I don't even know what song it is. Another Scouser, big up Mark, says Kevin. Look, this channel's for everybody. If you're on the United stand, I'd probably have to be a bit edgy and wind you up a little bit. I still might do it here, but this is the channel for everybody. We've done videos on the refereeing of the Liverpool and Arsenal stuff. You know, I think Haaland should win the Ballon d'Or. City, Chelsea. You know, we've spoken about a lot of them over the last 12 months. We're watching Newcastle, who, regardless of what you think about how they've got their money, the way they're using it is incredible. But look, what I would say about Newcastle is that as much as I think they will win tonight, I think they have to win tonight, because they've got to go to Paris. They've got to go to Dortmund. And if they lost both of those games... Okay, Pope! Oh my God, Jesus Christ! What a double save by Nick Pope. He is unbeatable. England's number one. He should be England's number one. What a double save by Nick Pope. That is... he's like Inspector Gadget. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. First one's good with one arm. Oh, it's brilliant. Should be England's number one for me. Sit down, Pickford. He's doing it in the Champions League. Only chance of Pickford playing in the Champions League is when he's playing the AFC. Or the only thing beginning with champions that Pickford's going to be playing is the Championship when he gets that points deduction. Too soon. Too soon. What a double save by Pope. And the thing about Pope is he was remarkable in the Isaac's through. He was remarkable in Milan. And he's done it again. And at the other end, it's a big save by Rubble or Copel. I forgot his name. Barney Rubble. It's not Barney Rubble. It's Copel. Coble. The goalkeepers are at it tonight. Not in that way. They're at the different ends of the pitch. They're not going at it like rabbits. They're going at it like octopuses. They've got arms everywhere. Wow, we are in for a cracker tonight. And Nick Pope's made some fantastic saves, but you've got to give their goalkeeper some credit as well. Hi, Mark. If you could take a player from each traditional top 6 side for United, who would it be? Says Will Sherlock. You are always fair and call out United respect, says Danny. Thanks, Danny. Appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Everybody's welcome here. Well, I don't know why. Lee says, I don't know what Southgate will never play Pope as number one. I mean, when you think about it, out of all the England goalkeepers, Pickford, Ramsdale and Pope, Ramsdale's not even being picked for Arsenal. Pickford is in a relegation battle every year. Pope is a top 4 goalkeeper playing in the Champions League. You know? What do you want to say? But it's a cracking game. You know, I love goal action. And we're getting a lot of it. You know what? I didn't even realise Arsenal last night, 2-1. I was so locked up in Man United. Very good result for Arsenal last night against Sevilla. Not an easy place to go. Oh, Ramsdale didn't even play in... What do you think about that then? What do you think about that? Ramsdale didn't play last night. He went with Raya in goal. I did think I completely forgot that Arsenal were playing last night. Therefore, I'd forgotten about their game, and yeah. His child was born, says Alex. Well, he was still sat on the bench in Spain, mate. What did he do? Bring his missus and stick her in the dugout? He could have played. If he's on the bench, he can play. He wasn't on the bench for the Chelsea game. I think his child may have been born. Loeb says, what are your thoughts on Tonali? Well, look, I've done a poll. We've had nearly 5,000 votes. Do you agree with a ban for Tonali? 65% of you do. 35% of you don't. I'm in the 35%. Personally, and I know I'm in the minority because I saw the comments yesterday, which shows what this channel's all about. It's not about playing to the obvious. It's not about playing to the crowd. I personally think, as somebody that's witnessed addiction, albeit not gambling addiction. Oh, another good shot over the bar from Malin. I don't think punishing people who are addicted with massive bans is really the way to go. I would give a ban. I'd give 1 or 2 months, a massive fine, and a warning. And basically, if you do it again, you are going to get a 10-month ban. Because a 10-month ban is basically a season ban. A season ban is mentally quite draining. And I just don't... Look, people will say you're an idiot. But I personally think there's a better way of doing it. Callum Wilson's just come on for Isaac, by the way. That could be another blow for them. Ramsdale post-Arsenal Piers Morgan interview is going to be great, says Tony. I don't think Ramsdale would do that. I think he's way too switched on and intelligent to do something like that. Mark, I loved the new game on the podcast, says Jack. Thanks for your support, Jack. That's straight out of my genius. I've got loads and loads and loads and loads of game ideas. You know, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I've got an idea for a game show that would be bigger than Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So if you know anybody at Fremantle or ITV or Channel 4, say, look, I listen to this genius on YouTube and he always comes up with brilliant game ideas on his podcast, and he's got a brilliant game for a game show idea to revolutionise game shows. You've got to give him a call. You've got to get in contact with him. Malin. It's not called Who Wants to Be a Billionaire. That would be a good show. Best era of football you had the privilege to watch. For me, it was the 90s. Says, don't mind me. Feels like football lost its charm these days, unless it's a World Cup. I loved the late 90s. I loved it. That was my favourite football era. Probably from 95 to 99. 98, 99. Yeah, that was my favourite era. And United didn't win it all. Arsenal won the double in 98. They're a bloody good side. I just loved that era. You see all this nonsense about a 9 billion credit line for Al-Thani. What you make of that, says Treble Champ. I don't make anything of it at the moment. What's the big idea, Mark? Who wants to show their willy on air? Says Nick. Nick, you dick. Nick the Dick, talking about Dick. Isaac's gone down, says CM. He has. Yeah, CM says I'd say... Wells says I would say 2000s. Yeah, if you weren't born in the 90s, you can't pick the 90s. I mean, I quite like... I've got to be honest, there was something very sincere and, cosy about the late 80s. Teletext. There was. We've done Everton's point deduction, Isaac. I will do a poll on it, though. Just, do you agree with Everton point deduction? Yes or no? Now, considering it's a 12-point deduction if they have breached financial fair play. I mean, if they have breached it, they have breached it. Should they get a points deduction? I mean, I think it's a deterrent. Was Serie A the best league in the 90s? Yes. What's there to say? Yes, it was. It was. I can't lie. It was. I'm surprised we haven't had a goal here yet. There's been so much... it's been end to end. And they're on the break again here, Dortmund. They've been progressive. It's Sabitzer. It's still Sabitzer. It's into Malen. Another block. I tell you what, I will say this about Newcastle in the Champions League. They are the sort of team that... I've seen it against Newcastle. I've seen it against Dortmund. They are the sort of team that... They've conceded no goals against Milan and Dortmund, and they could have conceded 6. Like it's that sort of defensive. It's good saves, it's good blocks, or is it bad finishing? Apparently, Celtic are beating Atletico Madrid. Headed away. Headed away, headed away, headed away now. Do you remember the Vidi printer on Grandstand? I loved it, Kenneth. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo. Doodle-doo, doo-doo, doodle-doo, doo-doo, doodle-doo, 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 doodle-doo. Or was, no, I think it was this. Da-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. Da, 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 da. That's not Baywatch snaps. Baywatch is some people stand in the darkness, afraid to get into the night. Some people say, I'll be ready. I'll be ready. I don't know why I'm doing it with my chest, doing Baywatch, but yeah, what a tune. I used to love that. Sometimes, I used to watch Baywatch when I was 9. I would go upstairs and put my red shorts on and just sit there watching it. Even in the winter, I'd sit there, Youngbridge, in red shorts, bare top, watching Baywatch, ready to help Pamela Anderson. Can't wait for City to be given points for a worse crime than what Everton did, says the HPN. I've not lost it, Stephen. I'm just remember happy times. Happy times. Somebody was on about the new podcast game. I've pinned the chat. I pinned it in the chat for you to download. Trust me. We haven't christened it with a name yet. I'm calling it... I can't remember what we called it. It needs I want to call it Golden Balls, but that's too Beckham. But it's a brilliant game. You can play it. Me and Will play it against each other every Tuesday. But it's a brilliant game that you get to play. I love the interactivity of the game. Not my words, the words of I forget, James Arthur. It's hard not to like this new game, Goldbridge, even though you can't stand my music. Ollie Mers. Why do you promote... but I haven't. It's piano. It's Plan B, so I haven't. So I don't know what you're talking about. And Barbed Wire with Pammy. Yeah, I'd never watched it. It was... one of my mates said it's really disappointing and it's not as good as Basic Instinct, so I didn't watch it. At that age... yeah, please do check it out on the podcast. Every Tuesday, we have the more extended conversationary podcast. And then every Friday morning, we have the weekend preview. Tomorrow morning, we're doing best player from every Premier League club. Really enjoyed that. We're previewing the derby. And also, we've got Goalbridge, which is our other game on a Friday, where you have to pick 5 goal scorers for the weekend. And I'm doing very well on that. Last weekend, I picked Alvarez, Watkins and Wizza out of my 5. It's not as easy as it thinks, and you can't pick Haaland. But I appreciate your support on the podcast. If you like That's Football, you'll like the podcast because it's a general football podcast. You can click that link now, download it for later, and give it a listen. I like to listen to it on a walk. Never really was into podcasts that much, but it makes walking better. Also, you can ignore people when they go, Goalbridge, Goalbridge, and you can legitimately just sort of, I go like that. And then they look to my ear when I'm going like that, and they'll go, oh, he's got earpods and he can't hear me. Sometimes if I've got to go and wait for a train, I'll put AirPods in and I'm not even listening to anything. It just makes me, it's just an easy way to be ignorant. People are going to see me at the train station now and say, you're not listening to anything, are you? I won't listen. I'm a big fan of AirPods on trains anyway, because the amount of times, especially at this time of year, when I used to commute to Birmingham, it was only a 20-minute commute from where I lived. Alton to Birmingham Snow Hill, about 20 minutes in the morning. Always get a seat in Alton. You've got no chance in Acox Green. But yeah, I'd get the metro. You wouldn't even have time to read it by the time you got there. Didn't really need music, but I used to put music on for the simple reason I can't be doing with sniffy bastards. Have you ever been on a train and the unselfish gits who've got a cold and sniff? Blow your fucking nose, you ignorant cretins, is what I wanted to say, but it's just not worth the confrontation. You know, they might have a weapon. Although most of the time they are about 58 and female. And they sit there going like this, reading some shitty book about, you know, bowel habits, going... At least if you blew your nose, you'd have at least 60 seconds before you have to sniff again. Such an annoying noise. You could shush them. Oh, I don't want to be shushy. Shushies. You don't want to be shushy. Have you noticed, Mark, that there is less overall refereeing ineptitude in the Champions League games? Premier League should definitely take a look into bringing these Euro referees in, says Jake. Well, I've said this for a long time. I've said it for a long time. Why is it that for 30 years the Premier League has been more than happy to recruit Romania's best midfielder or Africa's best striker or, you know, America's best centre-back? But woe betide anybody if they... another block there. Woe betide anybody bringing in a foreign referee. It's a massive contradiction that actually... under the rules of diversity and fairness, someone should be having a moan about. Jack says, Big Eric shone in every big game. And Matt says, Sheikh Mansour's network behind City is around 17 billion. Newcastle and the Saudis is around 320 billion. Eddie Howe managed Bournemouth. Pep had Barca and Bayern, says Matt Ross. I believe there's a point there that I've missed. Yeah, I hate sniffy people. Blow your nose. It's a good ball. That's going to stay in on the left hand. Oh, it's gone for a throw-in. Well, I tell you what, Newcastle have not been on top as much as I thought. FPL Fozzie says, what was your favourite teletext channel? CFAX, BBC. It had to go. It had to go. It wouldn't work now. It wouldn't work now. Not when you can get instant score updates. It wouldn't work. But at that time, it was great. Dortmund have got this, says GRR. Well, Isaac's a blow. Ladios says, are you doing the boxing on Saturday? You've just reminded me, actually. I'm just having a look at what time it fights. What time they fighting? About 11 o'clock? It's in Saudi Arabia. $11. I don't know. I don't know because I really don't know what to expect from that. There's just no way the world's best heavyweight boxer is going to lose a fight. And I think is it effectively an exhibition? Is that what it is? (2-1) to Celtic. Gabriel says the Celtic are playing well. Phoenix says it's 2-1. Thanks to the moderators. Will Declan Rice go down as a legendary CDM, says Diego? Well, not if he retires tomorrow. Thanks for your first ever super chat, but he's got a, he's doing really well at Arsenal. I think he's got the potential to go down as a, really good player, but he's got to do it every week. Mike Mate says it's promoted as a proper boxing fight, but in reality, it's going to be more of an exhibition. Come on, Tyson. Get in the ring with Goldbridge. It's only an exhibition. Let me just throw a few punches at you. Bang! Goldbridge is down. And he's not getting up ever. He's not going to get up ever. He's gone. In fact, they've just found his jaw in the second tier. He'll never talk again. Certain sections of the media are happy. It's sanctioned as an exhibition, but competitively null, says Keith. Adam says, I reckon you'd have Tyson. Yeah. I think that's what I'd look like. I wouldn't have a bloody chance. Oh, I can own up when I get battered. Some men can't. They just can't accept the fact that they might lose a fight. I beat him. I'll tell you what though. He might beat me in the boxing ring. I'll beat him at chess, EAFC, penalty shootout, American penalties, tennis, table tennis, pool. What's more important? Winning a boxing match or winning a game of pool? I know what I'd rather do. And if he could beat me at pool, can he beat me at chess? There'd be something I can beat him at. Have you ever heard of Shep Shed? Says Prod. I think so. I love this. I love wildlife. And CT has just given me the comment of the week. The smile on my face lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in my eyes saying you'll never leave me. Here he goes. Get ready for this. This is my kind of super chat. It's not even a super chat. It should be. It's free. This is free for everybody. CT80 says, Francis, who Fury is fighting, punches as hard as a horse kicks, apparently. And considering a horse can kill a lion with a kick to the skull, I find that hard to believe. What's your favourite chess opening, says Beats. One of them prawn things, 2 forward. Level with the knight. Mbappe has scored for PSG. Or as Ben says, my PayPal has just scored for PSG. Look, I've grown up around horses. I don't bloody like them, but people in my family do. And it's a little bit like we've all heard the story. A swan. I mean, how many times, if I had £1 for every time I've seen a swan and somebody goes, you know, they can break your arm with their wings. A lot of the time, they're not even on the walk with me. I'll be on a walk with Seb. We'll see a swan and some old twat will just appear out of nowhere from the bushes and say, you know what? A swan can break your arm. I'll say, fuck off, you nonce, and get back hiding in the bush. What are you doing in the bush? I wanted to tell you about the swan. Right, yeah, good story. Anyway, it's a bit like that with horses in the sense that a swan can break your arm with its wing, and if you stand behind a horse and it kicks you, it could kill you. This is what you get told by horse people. You go on a yard, horsey people are really, really into it. Like, they actually think it's exercise. My daughter does it, and she's got a Fitbit, and she was saying, oh, I'm knackered. I've been down the horse yard all day. And I said, well, what have you been doing? I've been riding horses. And I said, well, you're not, that's the horse moving, not you. No, the Fitbit's measuring my movement. So you're sat on your arse on a mobile chair and you're claiming the yardage that the horse is doing. Yeah, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. But yeah, you go down a yard, don't say that, they'll get really wound up about it. In fact, there's probably people who like horses in the chat going mad now, sending letters of complaint in to Horse and Hound or Horse Riders Weekly. But ultimately, you go on a yard and stand behind a horse, you won't be able to... Forget the guy in the hedge telling you about a swan breaking your arm. You go in a horse yard and stand behind a horse, there'll be a bloody alarm going off straight away. Everyone will run towards you. They'll rugby tackle you out of the way. What have I done? Don't ever stand behind a horse. If it kicks you in the head, it'll kill you. I don't know. I wouldn't try it. But you know what? You've got to have the reactions of... I'm trying to think of a crap keeper, but he did well last night. You've got to have really slow reactions to get kicked in the face by a horse. Because if you stand behind it, it's not bloody Mike Tyson. You don't walk behind it and boom. Like, it's got to get a bit of leverage. It's got to move a little bit. You've got plenty of time to put your arm up and let it break your wrist. Which, I don't know. Would I rather get kicked in the face or broken wrist? I think the left one's better. I'll take the right wrist. Yeah. Yeah, don't get kicked in the face by a horse. But I don't think it's not like they haven't got titanium feet. I'm not sure a horse kick is as strong as a Tyson Fury punch. I mean, a Shire horse probably is. But, yeah. Leo, this is a good one. Leo says, Mark, a horse would literally kick through your arm into your chest and kill you. What a load of bollocks. It's not a bloody bullet. It's an animal's leg. Have you ever played Buckaroo? I mean, it's not like, it doesn't, you don't touch a horse's arse and it lets off a bloody bazooka. It's a bloody leg. It's the leg kicking backwards. It'll go through your wrist and into your chest. Oh, yeah. You can't move for stories in the press every morning. Oh, another horse has kicked someone and it's put a big hole in their chest. People do believe shit. This is why I love wildlife. Raoul says a horse paralysed Superman. Yeah, but he didn't bloody stand behind it and get kicked. He fell off and broke his neck. Severed his spinal cord. He was disabled. He was paralysed. Didn't get kicked. He fell off it. And that's very dangerous. Very dangerous. Would a horse's kick kill a polar bear? Well, if you can find a polar bear stupid enough to stand there and get kicked before it actually rips the arse out of a horse and eats it. There we go. You're underestimating the power of a horse. Well, I tell you what, we've got a lot of people in the chat who seem to spend a lot of time suspiciously around the rear end of a horse. What are you looking at? It's arse or it's... I mean, to be honest, some people... Well, no, I stop there. Anyway, we've got an injury here to a Dortmund player. He looks quite injured. I think it's Emre Can. It's really raining in Newcastle. Who has a bigger... I'm not reading that, Ryan. Do you agree with Everton's point deduction? 6,000 votes. Yes, 53%. No, 57%. I've got another poll for you now. Don't get me started on nature. I'm a genius. Who deserves the Ballon d'Or, which I've spelt wrong? Messi, Haaland. There's an either or. Oh, he's in real trouble here. Emre Can is definitely going to come off. My friend was brushing... Oh, my God. This is sounding bad. Oh, no, Mandy. Mandy, no. No. Mandy, you've ruined it. You've actually gone and ruined it. I don't even want to read what Mandy has said. It's turned my stomach. I was singing a song about you yesterday, Mandy. I'm mad. Mandy's made me very mad. So Mandy says, this is Mandy's fault. My friend was brushing down the back of a horse at the stables. It kicked out right into her head and killed her. She was 17. A horse kick is fatal. Not always, Mandy. It was in that case, but my brother was behind a horse when he was about 6. He got kicked in the head and went to A&E and had concussion. In your case, it was bad and horrific, and it's making me feel sick. But that is a true story from my side as well. I don't know how big the horse was. Some people said it was a pony. For me, if it's got 4 legs, long hair on the neck, and a long tail at the back, it's a horse. But, yeah. Mandy. I don't like reality. That's too real for me. Horse kick versus a kangaroo kick. Who wins, says the HPN. Do you think the horse has got the biggest kick in the world? Who's got the better kick? A horse or a buffalo? They probably can't get their leg up, actually. I reckon... I'm going to Google it. Who would win in a race? Hold on. Newcastle in the box. Longstaff. Headed away. Who would win in a race? A hippo or a crocodile? Also, my gran got kicked across the garden by a horse and now she's dead. There's a lot of people who got kicked by a horse. Jay, I don't believe that. I don't believe your gran got kicked by a horse in your garden. 2 questions. What was your gran doing behind a horse? And what was it doing in your garden? Mark, what would back a crocodile or a lion? Crocs apparently have the strongest bite of any animal. I've seen a lion kill a crocodile, Matt. Shot over the bar there. I think Everton's point deduction is fair. However, it depends when Man City get theirs. If they equally punish them, it's got to be relative, says George. Do you think Newcastle will progress to the knockout, says Gregory? I think they've got to win tonight. Because if they don't win tonight, they've got 5 points from 3. But then they've got to go to Paris, Germany, and have Milan at home. If they beat Milan and they don't win the other 2, they'd only have 8 points. And 8 points might not be enough, but it is the group of death, so it might be. What do you think of Bellingham's form? Will he play in the Premier League? Love the content. Can't get enough of Goldbridge behind the chair last season, says Joseph. You're a Liverpool fan. You're a Liverpool fan. Check out the podcast. That's the gift you can give to me for free. Links in the live chat. Give it a download and you're supporting my podcast and your legends, and you're making me happy. Zebras have a faster kick with a smaller hoof. Force applied from a smaller area is more deadly, says the Inquisition. That's why at school I had a harder punch than most people, because my fist, it's average size now, but I used to have quite small hands and a really hard punch. Actually, I don't think I did have small hands. I've made that up. I think I've got average hands. But it's a bit like stabbing somebody in the leg with a pencil, or stabbing them in the leg with a blunt object. You can't do it, but with a pencil it's very easy. Don't do it, but stab a table instead. You'll see what happens. Start, bench, sell, swan wings, horses kicks, or a dog bite, says George. Oh, George. And Zebras have got a fast. The Inquisition's point is very interesting. Thanks for your super chats tonight. It's the game's not living up to what we thought. We could have done with a bloody goal. We really could. You know what? If you can guess what I'm Googling, if you know, you know. Oh, I've just found a website that's made me happy. And it's not porn. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Good cross by Newcastle. Headed away. Wackass says, a horse's kick has the potential to send someone soaring several yards through the air. I've even had the experience of being gored by a cow before, says Wackass. I tell you what, Wackass, I bet you're fun at parties, aren't you? You know, you've got someone saying, we went on holiday for 3 months and went on safari in Africa and went everywhere. Well, you tell you what, I can beat that. I had the experience of being gored by a cow. Oh, Wackass, that sounds fantastic. What part of your anatomy did it stab you in? Wackass, that just sounds horrific. Absolutely horrific. You never know what to expect with these streams, says Bobby. Well, listen to this website. Let me read it out. The 10 strongest animals on Earth. 1. Elephant. Dortmund have scored! From elephants to Dortmund. It's a goal. And I tell you what, I half expected Nick Pope to save it. I really did. They've been carving these sorts of chances open all night. And this time they found something that you can find on a fisherman's boat. A net. And certainly the ball has found the back of it. Newcastle are complaining for a foul on Gordon. Absolutely not. What are they moaning about? It's not a foul. It's a very, very good tackle. They've committed. And it's a lovely little bit of a breakaway. And the cutback is found for Nmicha. And it's a lovely little steered finish. It's a lovely finish by him as well, Nmicha. And it's therefore 1-0. There's not a lot that Pope can do about that. And on the balance of play, I do feel that Dortmund possibly, in my humble, do deserve it. They've had more shots on target, 5-2. Newcastle, funnily enough, have had more possession, but Dortmund deserving of this lead thus far. Well done. Well done. A hippo beats a polar bear. We're not going down that road again, David. I don't want Mandy to come out with another story of somebody that she knows that witnessed a hippo versus polar bear fight. Newcastle, can he afford to lose this? It's too important. They've got to win these home games. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. We're only 200 away from 47,000. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'll come back. Oh, no. They're in again. Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Good defending by Newcastle there. But they are conceding a lot of chances in and around the box. You can't do that at this level. You've got to be better. Interestingly, in the poll for the Ballon d'Or, you might want to take note of this, UEFA and FIFA. 63% have gone for Haaland and 37% have gone for Messi. I thought it'd be closer than that. I did. We'll go back to the elephants at half-time. The 10 strongest animals in the world. I don't want any jokes about your missus or anything like that. Don't want any of that rubbish. Sexism, which I hate. Pope's been very busy. It's another corner here. Do you think... I said this on the podcast. I think Nick Pope should be England's number 1. And I stand by it. I do. Oh, I'm going to watch. What am I going to watch tonight? I'll tell you what I'm into at the moment. I never thought I would be into it, and I am. I got recommended to it. I got recommended it loads of times, and I just was like, I don't think it's going to be my cup of tea. Finally giving it a go, and I'll tell you what it is. Still Game. Still Game, the comedy. Yeah. Oh, Mandy, you came and you told us a story, and it ruined the stream about horses that can kick and can hurt you and... I'll end there. Oh, Mandy. There's a lot going on here. I've enjoyed it. I think it's been a good game, Gabrielle. Logan says Still Game's great. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great show. It's half time. Let's hit the pub. Everyone get down to the Masons at Solihull. The drinks are on me. I've always wanted to do... One day I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that one day. Always wanted to do that. Let's get down such and such a pub. Half an hour. How many people do you think you'd turn up? I think a few would turn up. Not necessarily people who are watching the stream. I think some people on the stream would say, put it on Twitter. I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to do it. Whoa! Actually, Manchester, December the 11th. Let's fucking do it. Get to the show. I'll tell you the pub. James Blunt, wise man. Half time. Let me just give you a story of the half, because we are here to watch a football game as well as be entertaining. Life's too short to be boring. 55% possession for Newcastle, 45% for Dortmund. 4 shots to 10 and 5 shots on target to 2 in Dortmund's favour. They've had more corners. But interestingly, Newcastle have had more of the ball and more pass accuracy. This tells me Newcastle aren't doing enough with the ball, and Dortmund are counter-attacking as the away team very effectively at the moment. Newcastle need to counter that. They need to be more creative in the final third, because they are having the ball, but they're struggling to break Dortmund down, and Dortmund are breaking very, very effectively at the moment. Which Premier League team does a Van Dijk not get into? Definitely not a Liverpool fan, says Joseph. Great question. I'm going to come back to that. But first of all, can I just remind everybody that OneFootball sponsor our stats carousel. It does a great job. You get your stats live, you get your team live, subs, everything like that. And of course, you can download the OneFootball app for free. Links in the video description, or you can scan that QR code in the top right hand corner. OneFootball is fantastic for all your latest breaking football news, transfer news for your individual teams, and lots of others. It gives you score updates as well. But my favourite feature is the fact that when games are on, you can go into the app, go into players and look at their individual stats. So in this game, you could go and see how many misplaced passes a certain player has had or how accurate they are in their tackle attempts and things like this. Big shout out to OneFootball. Links in the description or scan the QR code. And as I said, it does things like this live for you, so you know the goal scorer and you know that we've had a sub come on for Chan, which is, as you can see there, Ozcan, which is a bit like Chan, but it's not. Right, let's go back to that question. What team do you think... I mean, Sam Smith says do a tier list of Pele, Maradona, Messi and Ronaldo. I never saw Pele play, mate, so I can only tell you that Maradona would be number one. I mean, Maradona, as much as I didn't like him as a kid for his handball, he is the most technically gifted player I've ever seen. Jack's talking about Eric again. Long and hard, Mark, as well. Okay. Celtic are doing very well. Yeah, let me just be Scorebridge. Celtic are beating Atletico Madrid 2-1 at half-time at Celtic Park. They were 1-1 and then they've scored again, Parma. Young Boys are 0-0 with Manchester City. Very interesting lineup by Manchester City. They're dominating possession. They've had 6 shots on target, but they're not winning. And he's made quite a few changes, really. He's got Lewis and Rodri in the midfield. Nunez is playing, but Grealish is playing as well. I mean, there's still some good players on the pitch, but I think he has got an eye on Sunday in the derby, really, because they are away. But look, Newcastle, Man City may be looking at that game and thinking they'll cruise it with a few changes. They're not at the moment. Feyenoord beat Lazio 3-1. Barcelona beat Shakhtar 2-1 in an earlier kickoff. As you know, in Newcastle's group, PSG lead 1-0 in Paris against AC Milan. Leipzig lead 1-0 against Red Star, and Royal Antwerp are 1-0 up against the other team that they're playing that I missed the name of. Are there any other games going on today? Birmingham City, Wayne Rooney's losing again. He's at home this time. He's losing to Hull. Not a good start for Rooney. Not a good start for Rooney. They were doing well under the previous manager. Rooney losing again. Is the change the right idea? Well, it's not my decision. I didn't make it. Don't tell me off. I can't. It's nothing to do with me. And did you see Mbappe's goal? Best player in the world, says Majestic Hero. I like your videos, Majestic Hero. He does match reactions to my... Oh, I haven't seen you one today. To my FIFA career mode, which was a bit shit today. I've got to be honest. It wasn't great today. I had a bad day. What do you think would win between a honey badger and a hyena? David, I know a lot about animals. I think a hyena would beat a honey badger. Ricky's taken a personality test and failed. Okay, and thoughts on Fitz Konza for Euro 24, Mark? I think he's underrated. I think Tomori's underrated. I think that Southgate has his favourites, and I think no matter what James Ward-Prowse does this season, he could score 20 goals and get 10 assists, and he'd still pick Henderson. I think Tomori could win the Ballon d'Or, and he'd still pick Maguire and Stones and Mings probably ahead of him. He has his favourites. It's as simple as that. And Calvin Phillips as well. He's another one. Although at the moment Maguire does deserve his place, to be fair. Let's talk about this Van Dijk question I got. What Premier League team do you think Van Dijk doesn't start for? Well, if I'm being completely honest, probably Man City is the only one I can think of. He'd start for Arsenal. He'd play Saliba and Van Dijk. He'd start for Spurs. He'd start for Chelsea. He'd start for Man United. He'd start for Liverpool, obviously. He'd start for Brighton. I think the only one you could have an argument with was Man City. And I've not really thought it through enough. But, I mean, would he start for Man City ahead of Stones and Diaz? I don't know. But that's the only club in the Premier League I think that Van Dijk might not start for. Because I still think he's a very good goalkeeper. On the subject of hate, Mark, I hate Pelicans, says Kenneth. Don't really know much about them. Big mouths. Who would win, the current City squad or MSN era Barca, says Jace. I'd say the Barca team would win. I'm not sure that this is the best Man City team. I know they won the treble, but it's not always the case. Like Arsenal think their best ever team's the Invincibles. I don't think it is. I don't think the Invincibles is Arsenal's best ever team. I actually think the 98 double side was fantastic. But yeah, is the 99 treble Man City side their best side? I don't know that it is. I don't. For United, would you swap Martinez or Varane for Van Dijk? Says Dan V. I mean, I think logically, I hate to say it because I really like Martinez, but Van Dijk is better. Whether I'd swap him or not, I'm not going to go that far, but Van Dijk is better than Martinez. Is Van Dijk better than Varane? I just think Varane is massively underrated in this country. There's even Man United fans that don't rate Varane, which I find incredible. I think he's so underrated, really. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner to do that. Let me just go back to my personal favourite, the 10 strongest animals in the world. Number 2 is an eagle who carries 4 times its weight. I'm more worried about its talents. Oh, here we go. The Goliath grouper is a fish that can attack adult sharks. The dung beetle can lift 1,100. Wow, I'm not having this. I'm not having this. How can the dung beetle be the 4th strongest animal in the world? They're just doing it on size. An ant's probably really strong, but if I tread on it, it's fucking dead. I'm stronger than an ant. And don't talk to me about relativity. It's not my fault I'm bigger. Oh, an ant. Oh, look at this dung beetle. It can lift 1,141 times its weight. Look at my foot killing it. Who's the real winner? Me. Physics. Or whatever they call it. Nature. It's not relative to size. It's size. Not having that. Oh, here's another one. Number 5. Hercules beetle moves 850 times its own weight, but gets trodden by Goldbridge in his Timberlands. I'm stronger than that. Crocodile has the strongest bite. Saltwater crocodile generates 3,700 pounds of force. Yeah, not going to argue with that. An anaconda can squeeze with the power of 10 humans. Oh, look at me. I'm really good at squeezing. Oh. You're no good if you've got... I'll tell you what, you wouldn't be any good if I chainsaw you in half, though, would you? What are you going to squeeze then? I'm being really, very, really mean to these animals. Strongest blue whale can move 30 tons. Can't survive out of water. I can. The strongest kick... I'm coming back to this, right? Strongest fighter... Tyson Fury. No. Strongest fighter, grizzly bear, can lift more than twice its own weight. I'm not impressed by that. But, hey, ho. Here you go. Somebody said a horse can kick the strongest. Well, I've got to do a Google check here. Is a zebra a horse? They belong to the same equine species, so technically you could say it's a horse. But a penguin can officially kick strong... Not a penguin. A zebra is the strongest kicker in the world. There we go. It's official. It's official. England's Cricket World Cup performance reminds me of Southgate's England, says Mawa. No one cares about cricket here. Well, some people do, but I don't. To be fair, grizzly bears are very, 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 very heavy. So they are very, very strong. But the strongest kick is that of a zebra. So apparently a zebra can kill a male lion with one kick. It's in trouble if it's round that goes for its neck, though, isn't it? That's called bad luck. In fact, I probably need to change that story. If you're at a horse yard and the alarm goes off, don't go near the back of a horse. It's probably going to be a lion coming to tell you, isn't it? Mark, who do you think is the funniest animal? I think penguins are comical, says Matt. Yeah, they are. They are. They are. They are. Gabriel says great white shark. They've got no legs. They've got no legs. They've got no arms. You want Sam? Giraffes can kick lions, and they do have a hard kick. But the zebra kicks with about 3,000 pounds of force. And due to the power of its kick, a fully grown zebra is able to kill an adult male with one blow. There is a lot of kick force behind the kick of a red kangaroo and a giraffe, but the zebra wins. So, yeah. I found another article now. This is football related because it's all about kicks. Camels have got a big kick. Giraffes have got a big kick. Horses, kangaroos. There's a bird called a secretary bird. Zebra. Yeah. You know, people talk about getting kicked in the head by a horse. Imagine if you got it in the nuts. If they can kick you in the head hard enough to kill you, what's it going to do with your nuts? Be coming out your mouth. What wild animal would you like as a pet if it won't kill you, says Majestic Hero? Well, I'm against animal captivity unless it's for prosperity reasons. I don't mean personal wealth. I mean like preservation reasons. You know, animals that are on the verge of extinction because of mankind. But if I could have an animal that wanted to live with me and be polite, I would say I'd quite like a polar bear. Let's just be friends. We've been enemies. Let's be friends. I would like to tame a polar bear and then use it as my weapon on people I don't like. So I'd go down to the overlap and I'd say, Gary, look what I've got. And I'd lock him in the room with it. Gorillas are underrated as the strongest, says Jay. And all I'd hear is, Goldbridge, please let me out. I'll go, you had your chance. You bottled it. Now meet Phil the polar bear, who is going to beat you up. I've took his claws out. It's just punches. From the neck down. I'm only joking. Gorillas are underrated as strongest. Daniel, stop. Mum jokes aren't funny unless I'm doing them. And can't look after myself, let alone taking a tame wild animal, says the Naz. And we're out for the second half now. That brilliant half-time chat is over. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Everyone's welcome here. Bottom right-hand corner. Appreciate that. Oh, I tell you what. Life stories with Goldbridge. I'm knackered today. I'm absolutely knackered today. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's like we're moving into the autumn and I need to hibernate, but I'm absolutely exhausted. You should start a channel that's wildlife, says Ray God. I'd love to. I'd love to do a show on wildlife. Here I am in the Serengeti hunting poachers who hunt rhinos. How do you like that? How do you like a dart up your arse? I used to be able to talk like David Attenborough. I can't do it anymore. There's during COVID, there's a video where I was walking with Goldbridge and I did a really good impression. I can't do it now. Can Newcastle get back into this game? They can. They've got to turn that possession into more chances. I don't think they can afford to lose this game. I think they really need to be winning it. If they don't win it, then I don't know how their group looks, actually. They're Group F, aren't they? So at the moment, Milan and Dortmund drew last time. PSG would be on 6 points if they beat Milan. Milan would be on 2 points, and then Newcastle and Dortmund would be on 4 points. So, yeah. I mean, Newcastle wouldn't be out, but it'd be hard. I mean, it was always going to be a hard group. 61% of you went with Haaland winning the Ballon d'Or, and we had over 10,000 votes. So I'm going to end that now. And Jace says, I've asked a lot of friends this question. What's the biggest mammal you can take in a fight? I said kangaroo, says Jace. I mean, I've been asked this question before, and I just want to say before I answer it, in no way am I condoning punching a mammal. Whether it's a male or an animal. But hypothetically, I've said it before and I'll say it again, if I could have a free punch on a lion, it's going down. Keep its mouth closed, you jolt its jaw, there's nothing it can do. You know, any good boxer will tell, catch someone on the jaw and jolt it, there's a nerve that just knocks people out. And I could do it to myself. Oh, that hurt a bit, actually. I wasn't trying to do it, but I have... Yeah, you can feel it. You're just going to jolt the jaw. They're going to go spark out. Really, I'd back myself against probably every mammal on the planet if I had a free punch. I'm happy to do it on a machine to prove it, but how we'd prove it without harming an animal, I don't know, and I'm not willing to do that. Dan says, Christ, Carragher when he sees the polar bear eating Neville. Christ, a fucking polar bear. No, it's not going to eat Neville. It's Phil, my pet polar bear that I've trained. And he's a friendly polar bear, but he will go and do what I tell him to do within reason. He's not going to get arrested. He'll basically say to Gary after it, he'll say, you keep your gob shut or I'll be back. And he'll go, don't worry, I will. Carragher's here. Here we go. Stupidest. You couldn't beat an egg, Mark. These people who say this are sad little individuals who think fighting's the best. I'm brilliant at fighting. I'm the best at fighting. And he's not 6 foot. You're overlooking the most dangerous animal of all. A moose will mess you up badly before having its way your limp body. Polar bear that, Goldie. What is this about moose, Rob? I've heard this before. A moose has got a big chin. One punch, bang. But what is it about mooses and Canadians? They're really scared of mooses. Moose. I've never heard about this. Apparently they're crazy, says Tar. I might have to add them to my arena of fear. In the arena of fear is a lion, a polar bear, a grizzly bear, and a moose. I was going to put a great white shark in there, but if it was in an arena, it would be dead. That would be quite satisfying. I don't like great white sharks, though. To see it on land, just can't breathe. I'd be going, you've had your last breath. I'd still feel guilty. I still think it's probably cruelty. Probably because they have lots of forests and the moose just come at them while they drive by peacefully in the Canadian countryside, says ACOS. Jake says, have you seen the size of a moose? There's a mum joke there, Jake, but I'm not willing to do it. I'm sure your mum's a lovely person. Young boys have scored, apparently. I don't know whether that's true. Muck, thank you for your super chat. As you should, they are giant murdering deer that towel all over you, says the Inquisition. Dull says, a moose once killed my nan. And he's clearly mistyped, says Pete the Meat. I think he meant mouse. I've got to be honest, I'm not scared of a moose. 2 years' time, there's going to be a headline, Goldbridge eaten by moose. Which used to happen to me quite a lot down the clubs when I was about 18. I'd had a lot to drink, anything would do. But, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't be scared of a moose. I probably would be in reality, but I'm scared of a polar bear now, and there ain't one in where I live. I'm scared of a shark, and I'm an hour away from sea. But I ain't scared of moose. I'm not scared of a moose. Maybe it's advertising, you know. Didn't they used to use moose for Labatt's lager, didn't they? And but then again, I mean, look, hippos are scary, but hungry hippos makes them out to be really nice. And polar bears with the glacier mint, they used to talk. Moose eat rotten fermented apples and get drunk, says Universal Soldier. Google moose when in heat. The male goes crazy, says Rob. And I had trouble with a cow once. It charged me, so I had to knock it out, says Beats. Yeah, I won't go near a bull. What animal do you think got done over by evolution the most? I think it's the fiddler crab, because it has one massive claw that's for getting girls' attention. That's it. Does nothing else, says Jack. I actually always feel sorry for the male spider that gets eaten after sex. That, to me, there's probably so many women in the world going, just don't have the sex and you won't get eaten. And then there's every man going, I can understand why it gets eaten. I can understand why it gets eaten. PSG have scored again. I think it's the Black Widow. That's why they call it the Black Widow. Luke's said it. It's the Black Widow. I mean, that's why they call it a Black Widow. Eats its husband. No, never going to get a payout. You take that to AXA or Aviva or Scottish Widows. They ain't paying out. Yeah, I had a life insurance policy. I shagged him and I ate him. Yeah, we're not paying out. That's the 7th time this week. You're like Henry VIII of spiders, the female version. You literally do eat, but you don't chop the head off. You eat it, and the legs. Is it true you're fighting another YouTuber, Mark? Says Greek. Not allowed. That ship sailed a long time ago. Not allowed. Man City went 1-0 up with a Kanji, but Young Boys did go 1-1. What are your thoughts on the match, Mohammed? I thought the first 15 minutes were good, but I just think Newcastle at the moment are a little bit surprised. I mean, look, you've got to give credit to Dortmund. I mean, for me, I expected more from Newcastle. There's still time. Here's Callum Wilson. He's done well. Doesn't find the pass. But they've just not been as free-flowing, Newcastle. And I do wonder that the loss of Tonali and then Isaac, depending on how long he's going to be out, it could be... and obviously they're missing Botman. Newcastle play a lot of games. I mean, they've got United next week in the Carabao Cup. I think he's going to have to make a lot of changes because they've got top 4 to go for. They've got the Champions League to go for. They're picking up injuries in key positions. Yeah, I think it's difficult. And they haven't been the normal self tonight, Newcastle. Do you think Newcastle are an overhyped club, says Reggie? No, I don't think they're overhyped. I just think that they're 1-1 here. Wilson! What a save by Cobble. That is, I tell you what, the goalkeepers tonight have been absolutely fantastic. And that's a fantastic save by Cobble. It really is. Callum Wilson, I'm saying it's 1-1. He should make it 1-1. Now it's Mallon on the break, but that should be 1-1. It's a great save by the keeper. Mallon's coming into the box here. They can't take him down. It's a good block. Africa, Cape Buffalo versus an American bison, says Raygard. And imagine if a praying mantis was the size of a human. Those insects are terrifying when they mate. The male is eaten after that, says Nigel. I've seen so many videos of a praying mantis fighting things like other insects that are good, and they just rip them apart. They are absolutely lethal. They've basically got like 2 samurai swords and a mouth. They haven't shown the Wilson again. Cobble's a very good goalkeeper. Yeah, I think he was linked to United. 2D says Dortmund have looked really good. They're in again, Newcastle, and he shot wide that time. Right, they'll show the chance here. Gordon's trying to get the crowd up. Let's have a look at this chance. No, they're showing. Here it is. Wilson, out of his feet. That's a good save. I mean, he has got 2 Dortmund players next to him. He knows he should have scored, but to be fair, the keeper's made a good bet fist of that with his knee. Atletico Madrid have equalised against Celtic. Bad news if you're a Celtic, want Celtic to do well. Griezmann scored in the first half. It's Morata in the second half. Still got a good team, Atletico Madrid. Oblak, Witsel, Hermosa, De Paul, Coke, Solniguez, Griezmann, Morata, Llorente. He's just come on. Scorpion kills a praying mantis. Gabriel says, what's happened to City lately? I don't know, but mate, please continue. A lot of people are writing United off in that derby, and I'm just like, I'm not having it. It's at Old Trafford. It's a Manchester derby. I just don't see this. I don't see it. I think it's primed for United to win. Newcastle aren't overhyped. We are simply underhyped. 1 point off Bayern last season, and everyone considers them world beaters. Wait until the home leg, says Decomp. Yeah, Dortmund are a good side. I see what you mean. Ahmed, thank you very much for your chat. And look, this is the great thing about the Champions League. When you get games like this, it's an early indicator. You don't normally get it till the knockout stage, but it's an early indicator of where is the German league against the Premier League. Like, you know, Dortmund, Newcastle are not in the top 4. Dortmund are in the top 4 in Germany. It feels like Dortmund are slightly better than Newcastle so far. But then again, there's still time. There's still time. I've just heard something I've got to Google. Tarantula hawk. What the fuck is that? You know, in all my years, I've never heard of a tarantula hawk. A tarantula hawk is a spider wasp that preys on tarantulas. My God. Don't fuck with nature. They are a large wasp, and they use their sting to paralyze their prey before dragging it to a brood nest as living food. A single egg is laid on the prey, hatching to a larger larva, which eats the still living host. Oh my God! You know, I don't believe in making animals extinct or insects, but that needs to be killed. That's disgusting. I never even knew that happened. Where do they live? New Mexico. India. Africa, Australia and the Americas. Don't bring them to the UK. They don't know... The sting is among the most painful of all insects. Although the pain only lasts for about 5 minutes. One researcher described the pain as immediate, excruciating, unrelenting, that simply shuts down one's ability to do anything except scream. Mental discipline simply does not work in these situations. It's blinding, fierce, and shockingly electric. Wow. Well, you live and learn. You live and learn. So basically, they sting a tarantula, which paralyses it. They then drag it to the nest, lay an egg on it, and the egg slowly eats the host alive. I mean, that must take bloody ages. But if it's paralysed, how long is it paralysed for? A few questions. How long is it paralysed for? And how long does it take to get eaten? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to be thinking about that tonight. Tonali's coming on for Newcastle. Haaland's got a penalty for City. Don't forget about the Australian drop bears, says Sam. Oh my God. Manta shrimp punches with the force of a bullet, says Pete the Meat. Man City have got a penalty. Tonali's coming on. Could be his last outing as a Newcastle player for a while. Oh, Gabrielle says the egg is in the poison, so it instantly starts eating you. Murphy and Tonali coming on here. I did wonder why we've got red numbers on the players as it goes round, but you know, Newcastle do have red numbers, which I should have known. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right hand corner. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You're very welcome on here. You can tell the football's not been scintillating because we've been talking about wildlife, but Newcastle are pushing here, and they've got time to do it. Hi Mark, what did Seb think of the Maguire goal? He was absolutely ecstatic. The smile on his face was great. The Lonely Loner, thank you very much. You know what he said to me as well? I told him on the school walk this morning. I said, you know, Harry Maguire scored today, and he was last night, and I said it was the winning goal as well, and he was like, great. I knew he was a good player, and then I went, oh, I didn't really say anything. I was like, I don't want to lie to him, and he said, I can't wait to get to school and tell everybody because they always boo me when I say it. I said, what? He said, well, some of the boys like football and they have a favourite player, and when I say mine's Harry Maguire, they boo and say he's rubbish. And I thought, I've got to be on your side here, but probably best to say nothing. And then I said, but you can go in today and say he scored, and he scored the winning goal. Wasn't consolation. And he said, I'm going to do that. And he wandered off with a smile on his face, safe in the knowledge that his favourite player had had his moment. The Inquisition says there's a species of bugs where the male kidnaps several female and forcibly impregnates them. The 50+ babies eat their way out, killing the female. Oh God, that's you know, I never want to do religion. I never want to talk about religion, but that's the sort of thing that creates atheists. Why? Why create something like that? Jack says the hagfish hasn't evolved in 300 million years and is considered the perfect animal. I call bullshit. Dortmund are in the box. It's a good crosser, face the box, and Tonali clears it. Ryan says, I think the stats are stuck. Oh, they are. They've been stuck for ages. Well done. Newcastle still not getting enough shots on target. Madassa says, have you heard of the B1 orcas of Antarctica? Is it a band? I know about the Portuguese man of war. It's that was something as a kid we used to know about. It's a jellyfish, isn't it? Milana totally gone, says Isla. Why Seb at school? No, it's not half term where we are. Not till Friday. Oh, there's a Newcastle player down here, and I don't know what Newcastle have played on, but he does look hurt. Gordon's in. Oh, bad cross. Wilson's gone down. No way was that a penalty. Newcastle players going down all over the place here. I think Murphy's broken his arm. I was going to say he definitely went down in a lot of pain, and I know sometimes it's not a head injury, but if I'm a referee, I'm stopping the game because he can tell he's in pain. I think he might have done his collarbone here. Oh, I tell you what, I'm not normally a night owl, but, well, I am a night owl. I don't like going to bed at night, but I don't like going to sleep. But tonight, Matthew, I can't wait to go to bed. That does not mean I want to go to bed with someone called Matthew. I meant like stars in their eyes. It used to be, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Brian May. And you walk out yourself, you come back through some smoke, and you've got a big perm and a guitar. So tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be in bed and hopefully asleep by 11 o'clock. It's been a good stream, though. I've really enjoyed it. Sometimes I think the games that don't get ticking are sometimes the best watch-alongs. The worrying thing is, I've got a lad who works for me called Matthew, and he's probably getting very worried at this time, which is why I wanted to explain it. Have you watched Killers of the Flower Moon yet? Says Joshua. No, because I know what happens. I've read the book, and it's a bloody long film, so I will watch it at some point. But if you go and watch that in the cinema, you've got travel time, adverts, travel home. I mean, really, you need to book a week off work. Alexander says it's very, very good. Thoughts on Bill Kenwright's his passion? Well, he's died. I don't really know what Everton fans think about him, and I'd always bow down to fans of a club knowing best what about their club. But from the interviews I saw, and obviously he did a lot in the theatre business, but he seemed like a nice bloke. You know, every interview I saw, he seemed like a nice bloke. Yeah. Rest in peace. Where do you rank Duncan Edwards as all-time Man United players? Well, I've got my little book there that I got from my granddad. My granddad absolutely worshipped him. I never really saw him play, and there's not a lot of footage, so you're going on anecdotes, but so many people. I mean, Sir Bobby Charlton was a brilliant footballer. Never saw him play, but there's quite a bit of footage of Sir Bobby. Not masses when you think about a large proportion of his career wouldn't have even been recorded. But he said that Duncan Edwards was the only player that he ever felt inferior to on a football pitch. So, you know, I trust people's opinion on him that he was a fantastic player. It's just, you know, obviously I've got no experience myself. Hi Mark, my girlfriend's 3 celebrity crushes are you, Gary Neville and Sean Dyche. What should I do? Harvey, I just don't. If she ranks them and I'm not number 1, I'm gutted. Sounds like the Glazers to me, says Moses. And I saw a clip from a movie. Oh, you will never catch me watching that treble champ. And there's loads of people that are now going to watch this. I would say it's not one of those things in life where you go, I'm just going to watch it anyway, because you will regret it. So treble champ, it says he saw a clip from a movie called Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell, and I really wish I hadn't. It's vile. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and yeah, don't watch it. The film's a good idea. The film is actually quite a good film, but that bit will mark you for a long time. I like westerns, and it's it's a very distinctive twist on it. Don't watch it. Like, don't think, oh, well, it can't be that bad. It's bad. It's disgusting. Then again, Saw's quite gross, isn't it? There's some stuff. There is some stuff in those Saw films which is gross. It's not that, no, Luke. It's not that it's gory. It's just there's a certain death in it that's just it's not that it's gory. I mean, we've all seen sharks eating people, or people getting, you know, their heads blown off, or, you know, blown up and stuff like that. It's not that. It's just the way that this person gets killed that's just, it plays with your mind. It's horrible. It's not. It's just, I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't watch it. If you want to, what I would do is listen to the podcast, Goldbridge podcast. We're trying to build up the numbers on that. We're really enjoying doing it. We've got a new episode tomorrow, which is the weekend preview, but the main podcast goes out on a Tuesday. Please do give it a listen. You can listen to it now if you want to while you're watching this, but you could just click the link in the live chat and download it for later. Really appreciate your support on that. We're looking to do some live shows with that in 2024. And we're going to do a little section on the United Stand Christmas show on December the 11th. So if any of you want to come to that, that would be great as well. I stopped watching Saw. Again, I just think it started... I used to watch it when I was quite young, and I didn't mind it. And then as I got older, I was just like, I'm just watching something here that's just for shock, isn't it? It's just how they can be more gory. And I just lost interest, really. There's that. I don't really watch horror, really. I think the best horrors are the ones that... I like Scream. Bit of comedy in it, you know. But what's that one with the clown in it that's really gory? It's called The Something. That's disgusting. Seen Yellowstone, Mark. Recommend any Western, says Miss. Yeah, it's good. No, not it. It's not called It. Terrifier, that's it. Terrifier. There's some that's gross. That's got a very similar death to the Bonehawk Tomahawk. There's one in that. That's very, 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 very gory. Newcastle put the cross in. We've still got 20 minutes to go here, but I'm not so sure that Newcastle are going to break Dortmund down. Dortmund seem to be quite happy defending here. And is this Adeyemi who's come on? And they've played on there. It's not going to be a foul. There's a Simpsons episode about it. I think it's out next month. I'll tell you what, I used to really like The Simpsons, and I don't know whether anybody else likes The Simpsons, but I used to like The Simpsons, like, you know, probably 20 years ago, and I don't really watch it, but me and Seb had Disney on yesterday, and we were watching some of the Halloween ones, and I was like, I do like The Simpsons, but I just don't have the time for it anymore. And they're still doing it. I think they're on season 34, aren't they? Incredible. It's incredible how long The Simpsons has been going for. Have you watched the Thriller video, Mark? Have you seen While You Were Sleeping, says Mandy? It's very funny, says Mandy. I don't think so. Have I seen the Thriller video? What, for Thriller by Michael Jackson? Why, do you think that's scary? Bloody hell. The only thing scarier about that is Michael Jackson. I wasn't scared about the zombies. It's funny, this is a true story actually. We were talking about this the other day because we watched the triple substitution here for Dortmund. Haller's going to come on for Malen. Sully's going to come on as well. I watched... I watched that thing on BBC One. I can't remember what it's called. Is it The Reckoning or something like that? With Steve Coogan playing Jimmy Savile. And we were watching it and I said... I was watching it with the missus and she was saying like how she liked Jim Will Fix It when she was a kid, and I said he'd have liked you, and I said but you know it's true, he was what he was and wasn't very nice, but I said you know what, never liked him anyway, even before it came out. As a kid I didn't like him. I actually thought he looked like what he was. I was scared. I said I was scared of him when I was a kid. I liked the theme tune, but then when he came out I switched it off. I was ahead of the game. Never liked him. I thought he looked odd. And I was right. And I tell you what, I didn't like Michael Jackson either. So, young Goldbridge was switched on. Didn't like Michael Jackson. Didn't like Jimmy Savile. I must have had some sort of radar. And but they say it comes in threes, don't they? So, if I told you the third person, I'd get sued because it's nothing come out of that about them yet. So, I can't tell you who the third one was. And I'm not singing the theme tune either because you'll know who it is. There was a third person that scared me as a kid, and they've never been accused or caught of anything. So look, I might have been off, I might be right. You've got it. It was Gordon the Gopher. No, I like Timmy Mallet, Steve. Rolf Harris. Yeah, funnily enough, I actually liked Cartoon Club. He lured me in with the bloody drawing the pictures. Can you guess what it is? Yeah, I used to love Cartoon Club. He'd draw Roadrunner and you go, yes, it's Roadrunner. Meet Dan James against that Fox thing. I'll tell you what, again, that was a bloody good TV show, that was. Cartoon Club. He'd sit there with a blank piece of paper and he'd draw a cartoon and you'd go, yeah, it's Daffy Duck. They'd watch a cartoon of Daffy Duck, then he'd come back, draw another one. Did any footballers scare you? In the 80s, there was a lot of footballers with perms, yeah, and moustaches. I never understood it. Where is Adama Traore now, Tim? Where's he gone? Did he go to Saudi? Oh, Big Breakfast was a great show. Dortmund on the attack. Newcastle defending well with 10 minutes to go here. Oh, he's at Fulham. Does he ever get a game? Aaron says that Ronnie O'Sullivan scares me somehow. Ronnie? Tizzy was scared of Rude Hullet. This is turned into a good conversation. Who scared you when you were growing up? I don't think Ian Rush had a perm, did he? Postman Pat. I liked Postman Pat. I'll tell you what I didn't like. The Moomins. You know them hippo white things? Oh, they were all weird. And Finger Mouse. Oh, the guy who did Finger Mouse as well. Probably was fingering mice. Yeah, I didn't like that. Starsky and Hutch or Dukes of Hazzard. I met Starsky in Northampton 2014. Nearly fainted when he kissed me, says Mandy. Had his pictures all over me. I liked the Dukes of Hazzard. My favourite one was the policeman on the bikes. Was it called Chips or something? I can't remember what it was called. There was two American police officers on bikes. Sid from Toy Story and Barney the dinosaur, says Harry. Newcastle on the break. Sly and Gobbo from Noddy scared me, says Ben. Give us a clue as to who the third one is, says Taylor. I'll think of a clue. Oh, the child snatcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was scary. Hated him. He's definitely a nonce, though, isn't he? I mean, he literally used to go around catching kids in a net, and he looked like a bloody nonce. Goal! Oh, blocked. Still on the attack here. Almiron, cross to the back post. Headed in. Oh, cleared away again. 5 minutes to go for Newcastle here. They're checking for a handball. I think it hits him in the chest. No, definitely not a penalty there. Adolf, the Australian painter, scared me, says Furman. I nearly started singing Jim will Fix It then. I'm not doing that. Oh, I'll tell you what, I Grot Bags in Emu, I didn't like her. She was scary. And the worst one of all, most of you won't know who I'm talking about. I think it was from, was it T-Hawks? Zelda. Oh, she was horrible. Horrible. Imagine waking up with that. Disgusting. Yeah, Zelda from Terrorhawks, that was it, Snaps, yeah. Oh, he's at the bar. He's at the Denver. I think it's Callum Wilson. Cross came in. Or was it Longstaff? One of them has flicked the cross onto the bar. They're not going to show a replay. The teacher off Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he was, says Nicholas. Was he? 3-0 to PSG. Someone said thief. I never liked Noddy. I think big ears worried me as well. I think Noddy in general worried me. Got to be honest. Just didn't like Noddy at all. Oh, Noddy, the little twat with the red and yellow car. Fuck off, Noddy. What was he doing? Living with an old man as well. I didn't like Noddy. What custom tactics do you recommend you use in EAFC, says Eddie? Well, before today, I would have said Geoghegan pressing and in behind with your striker, get your left back overlapping and right back stay back, centre cut passing lanes with your midfielder, but I don't know after today. E.T. and his long salad fingers used to freak me out, says Gems. Mr. Blobby was scary, says Aaron. Oh, I think everyone just used to want to punch Mr. Blobby. Noddy was my nickname, says Purple. Take it back. Well, if your nickname was Noddy... Aaron says Wallace and Gromit was always a bit odd. I liked that. I liked Wallace and Gromit. Coraline the Kid movie was horrifying, says Hazib. My kids used to watch that. It is weird, yeah. I like Thomas the Tank Engine, Benny, yeah. Dom says, I absolutely hated Mr. Tumble. Yeah. The tree from Poltergeist terrified me. Thought it was down the road from my old house, as Blakey. In the Night Garden, I can understand why people would be scared of it. It was really weird. It was really weird. My youngest used to watch it when she was little. And I'd watch it with her and I'd be like, I don't know what's going on here. There's a fucking balloon that's farting. There's a fucking weird little nonce thing that's washing stones. Iggle Piggle's playing with a red blanket. There's these little people that live in something. I was just like, oh, it is very weird. It's really weird. But kids loved it. Have you ever heard Mick Miller doing Drunken Noddy, says Mandy? I haven't. Women scare me, says Michael. I tell you what's a good children's program that you can watch with your kids, and it's, you know, it's got a bit of adult humour. Bluey, fair play. It's Australians. It's very good. Bluey's very good. I like Peppa Pig. I think Peppa Pig's quite funny as well. I used to love Rainbow. Zippy. Thanks for all your super chats tonight. You've been super, by the way. And please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Newcastle are heading down for a loss tonight. The chat's been brilliant tonight, Scola says. It has. It's been brilliant. But surprisingly, 1-0 to Dortmund was not a scoreline I was going to predict. And we've only got 4 minutes to be added on here. So big shout out to Dortmund. They've been impressive. I think man of the match, don't know what everyone else thinks, but I think in relation to man of the match, I'd have to give it to the goalkeeper for Dortmund. He's made some big saves. I mean, I think Nick Pope's had a good game, but he's made the big, he's kept the clean sheet. Doesn't put Newcastle out, no. But certainly makes it hard for them. But with Milan losing and Dortmund, I think for Newcastle they're going to have to get something in Germany, because I can see Dortmund Yeah, I think if Dortmund can beat them in Germany, that I don't see Newcastle getting enough points to get past them. And that'll be the next game, won't it? Isn't the next game Dortmund in Germany? So they're going to have to go and get something there. But these are the ups and downs. It's been a tight game. These are the sort of games that frustrate you as well. Can they do it here? There's still a minute left. Keepers up, Nick Pope. You feel that this is about it? Dortmund haven't had too many chances in the second half. In the first half, they had a lot. I mean, look, in fact, they had... The interesting stat here is that Dortmund had 5 shots on target at half-time. So they haven't had a shot on target at all in the second half. Oh, it's off the bar again. It's off the bar again. Nee says, what's your thoughts on Portsmouth? I'd actually say... No thoughts on Portsmouth. I'd actually say I think that Newcastle probably deserve a point based on the second half. They've hit the woodwork twice. That's not gone over the line. I don't know why they're checking it. I don't know why they're checking that. That's closer to the 6-yard line than it is the goal line. Check over. It didn't go over the bloody line. I think they probably do deserve a point from this Newcastle, but especially considering Dortmund haven't really done a hell of a lot second half. But it's a big, big win for Dortmund, that. Their coach loves it. The final whistle goes. Very, very good away win in the Champions League for Dortmund. Very disappointing result for Newcastle. They'll feel in the second half they did enough to get a point, but those games are frustrating to lose because you put a lot of work in. You lose 1-0. You can see the disappointment there. They've got Wolves away on Saturday night. That'll be a difficult game for them. Ben says that Harry Maguire scares me when he plays for England. Thank you very much, Ben. And what a game, says XGN. What a stream. Let me just say, what a stream. You've been absolute legends tonight. I've absolutely loved that. Yeah, what a community we've got here. It was a great, great stream. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. What a couple of hours. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. If you like this sort of conversation, then please do check out the podcast. You don't have to visibly look at me. You can listen to me in the bath, on a walk, in the car, at night. We've got the podcast. There's lots of good episodes on there. Tuesday's episode was obviously out yesterday, so give that a listen. And on Friday, we have the weekend preview on the podcast as well. Brilliant new game on the podcast from yesterday. I'd love you to listen and check it out. Links in the live chat. Go and give it a download and a listen now. Brand new game on that podcast, and you can play along with it as well. Thanks everyone for today. Next watch along is Saturday lunchtime, which is Chelsea-Brentford. But we'll have some content for you. I'm going to do a video in the morning about something that I think is really worthwhile. And it's Thursday tomorrow, so we're getting close to the weekend. Brilliant show. Thanks everyone. Check out the podcast, please. I'll see you again soon.